All right, well, welcome everyone to our Week of Diversity retrospection, and welcome to day 2 of Fedora 37 release party. So today we are going to talk about some of these statistics. We're going to talk about one wish for the volunteers, one wish we have as a team, a wish for all the participants, and where is a treasure to be found and where's a cliff we can be safe from. So some of the stats, we had 62 registrations total with a 68% turnout. Our attendees scored us at about a 9.3, and there were about 26 badges claimed. And these are stats that we got from the Hop-In. So some of the countries included the United States, India, Germany, Mexico. And then others are many different countries. We are assuming that they were at less than 6%, but there were like multiple different countries, but Hop-In only gave us the top 4. And so one wish for ourselves is time zone diversity. It was a little difficult for us to coordinate best time for us to meet and also when the event could go live. And we also thought that we needed a little bit more restructuring. We could have started planning a little bit earlier, and it could have helped us with gathering speakers and finalizing them earlier, making sure that we had like a right time for people to attend, us to finalize everything and start some marketing work earlier so we could have more attendees.
Yeah, so when it comes also for the volunteers, from our perspective, again, it will be kind of the same issue with the time zones. Like we saw, even for us, we were like in 3 different time zones, so it was kind of hard finding some good time that would fit for all of us. And especially we were doing video calls, weekly video calls, so having also, another job and doing the Fedora Week of Diversity sometime was, again, super hard for us to coordinate everything. But yeah, I mean, in the end, I think still we kind of figure out to find some common sense for all. Another thing, actually, when we were chatting, one of the ideas that came up that what we could improve that maybe could help us was having some in-person planning team, because we think that from previous experiences from events before the COVID times, for example, when we were meeting in person to do the planning, creating some timeline, when we need to deliver what and so on, it helped us way more for making the event happening and not being, super stressed sometimes with the timing or things that we needed to deliver. So we were thinking that maybe we could try to do the same thing for Fedora Week of Diversity, and maybe also for the Fedora Mentor Summit that is coming soon, will be next year. And what could be also helpful to make it together, like before or after FOSDEM or FLOG, since usually, FOSDEM, a lot of us might be there, so it will be easier, and same for FLOG. And yeah, when it comes to the participants, so what we were thinking that, again, like what could be improved for next year is first thing that came up super like many times that we were repeating was the content part, because we believe the event, it's really great when you have a very good content. So we believe that like the content was also this year very great actually, but maybe if we could have even some more topics that we could cover, will be even nicer. So we can include also more speakers and so on, which sometimes, it was a bit challenging for us. And another thing is publishing the schedule actually earlier, so the attendees could check it out earlier if, they had something that was interesting for them and so on, or maybe even suggest someone else that could join. So this is another thing that we have in mind for next year. and research-based findings. So basically, having a bit more resources or like doing a bit more research on what we need, what we can include for the event, and so on. So this is like another thing that we have in mind for improving. And definitely something else that we would love having is having a bit more social or engaging sessions, like Kahoot, for example, because I believe especially these kind of fun sessions where everyone can be included, and it helps with the socializing, with networking, and so on. It helps balancing the event and increase participation. We were actually checking a bit the ratio between, the participation or the number of attendees we have at the Fedora release parties and Fedora Week of Diversity. And sometimes it's a huge gap. So we want to see how to improve this a bit more. I mean, we are not saying to have the same numbers, but still, to have a bit better ratio, I think, between these two events. So maybe something else that what we could be doing is having some better marketing, maybe, speaking a bit more about the event, like promoting it a bit more on our channels and so on. So this is another thing to keep in mind for next year.
Thank you, Jona. So, during our retrospection call, we wanted to identify places where we can use our insight into trying new things, almost experimental for us. We don't just want more speakers, we want more diverse speakers from diverse and underrepresented groups. And in our experience, it can be challenging for people who are not comfortable with English or have not given a talk before. So, thinking from a bridge perspective of Fedora mentorship goals and highlighting our diverse group, we want to try mentoring speakers. We want to help them with slides, content, delivery, and most important, giving them the confidence boost that they need. Most of the time, all you need is to just go over things together once, and that just enough. Then, coming to a wider challenge that we don't necessarily have to answer right now, how can we engage more audience? As Yona mentioned, better marketing is one. But what about motivations to not just like a tweet or participate, but share their story, participate in the DI team as a member, and bring new ideas. Maybe bringing back our efforts of appreciation week. So we need to find out how do we catch attention of community members and provide carrots in a metaphorical sense that motivates them to keep going. This can be a swag or a badge or something entirely new that we have not thought of yet. And this is where I open it up to audience. What do you think can we do to engage more audience in Week of Diversity or DEI team in general? This is a big question. And as I said, this doesn't need to be answered right now. But these are two things that we think are worth trying. And where is a cliff to be safe from? This section was us identifying things to be cautious of and some important reminders. We always want to organize the best event possible and do our best in delivering that. But volunteers have other commitments, and often sudden scenarios can distract them. It's not about more volunteers or more talks or more participants, even, but about realizing the value in what we are doing, however below the expectations metrics we achieve, and have a realistic expectation. We need to understand it's not always the number game, but consistency and efforts are equally valuable, if not more. Organizing events that center and celebrate people from underrepresented groups and backgrounds often comes with additional hurdles and usually extra scrutiny or questioning. And now this is not specific to Fedora Week of Diversity, it's just a part of working with diverse community and in the DEI space. People may not always understand why, or they may feel centering other groups means detracting or reducing the contributions of people who look like them. So the last point speaks to itself in the end. Last minute speaker canceling talks happens. Everyone has different commitments and priorities, and sometimes it's challenging. But we need to be better prepared with maybe backup speakers or have more social sessions that we can introduce as we go. So these are the things that we need to be aware of moving forward. And the last slide, that was all that we learned from our retrospection call. We have gone through our survey. We have great responses, but again, that response comes from a very small set of people from the Fedora community who are already interested in DEI space, who participated and they had a great time. So good, great feedback. So I don't want to think from biased perspective. How can we do more? How can we engage more audience? And how can we do better moving forward? Thank you. If there are any questions, we can answer them now. So Marie asks, what ideas do you have about reaching outside the current group of folks who are committed to DEI? Yes, that is the challenging part. And one of the things that I want to think about is how do we group DEI with different groups which are active and proving successful in the community? So plugging it with mentorship, like I said, mentoring more DEI folks. There is enough diversity in the community, I feel. Well, never enough, but enough to inspire a lot more people to participate and see our diverse nature. So we want to highlight those as well. And that can hopefully pull a lot of people. Uh, yeah, we have mentorship going on. We want to engage more with engineering teams, but it can be challenging. So I can't think of one specific way. You know, Arisa, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, as you mentioned, like it's not that I have also something specific, but first that came to my mind is also connecting with the Mentor Summit, I guess, because also there we have quite a diverse group that work on different things that maybe also could be interested in helping or giving like some new ideas or kind of connecting it with the Fedora Week of Diversity. Okay, so we have also another question, actually. So for people who are curious but maybe miss the event, can you give us a quick elevator pitch about the event and ongoing work? Sorry, we forgot to mention that actually maybe since the beginning. Vipul or Isa, do you want to say it or should I?
I can start and then maybe you can add if I missed something.
Okay.
So Fedora Week of Diversity is a small event, get together, but it's an event where we want to celebrate our diverse nature of community. We want to highlight different diverse group of people, the work going on, the success they are achieving from outreach interns to the places they have been or different community members. Uh, so it's about meeting, it's about appreciating each other. One of the things that we used to do was appreciation week, where we used to highlight different people who have helped us in the community. It's a celebration of people.
And also it's organized by the DI team in Fedora, which also before the events that we were organizing was called Fedora Women's Day. But we thought, to making it a bit more broad, and then we changed it to Fedora Week of Diversity. Last year we did it a bit differently. We had created like different videos that were interviews with different folks in the community. While this year, basically we did it. Yeah, also Marie shared a video from 2 years ago from Fedora Women's Day. But yeah, so this year, like we thought to organize it a bit more differently, to have it more as an event, not just like recordings that we did previously. Thanks, Marie, for sharing the links as well. And also earlier this year, we had also the Fedora Mentor Summit, which was a bit more focused on mentoring in Fedora, not only people that are already doing that, but also, trying to have more people on board and how we can have also more people that could do that all the time. And not only with the official mentorship programs that we have, like Google Summer of Code, Outreach, and so on, but also with Fedora Joint-SIG, for example, and so on, ambassadors. And that's true what also Marie was putting in the chat for the stories last year that we were sharing. Actually, it was like really great seeing how people, join the community, what they like, who mentored them. It was, really inspiring and great. Okay, so any other question that maybe, or not only questions,
Maybe
even if you have ideas.
I have fun. Maybe we can discuss how can people participate in next year Fedora Week of Diversity.
When you say participate, you mean like more volunteers or attendees?
I would say volunteers.
I feel like, I mean, kind of like what our retrospective was saying, like once we start planning earlier and we have more of a defined idea of what we want Fedora Week of Diversity to look like, we can reach out to people earlier with a plan, a defined plan for them to fully understand what they're going to do and what the event is going to look like. So more people would feel confident participating in it. So I feel like that could be a way for us to get more
Yeah, so
volunteers.
keeping an eye on DEI, tag on discourse, chat on metrics. These might be good places to hear when we start working on these things, maybe in initial phase, so people can participate, or maybe just come and hang around in DEI space, see what we are up to, and that can give you a very early insight into the moving process.
And also echoing what Marie is saying, that every event needs people who are focused on organizing, people coordination, promotion, writing, artwork, platform coordination. It's all very, very important.
Yeah,
And it's
and this
the
brings
same
back the
person.
Yeah, and this brings back your idea, Yona, what you mentioned about maybe a small get together of people who are interested in these things, who have been doing it for last couple of years. Just meeting maybe after FOSDEM to those who are available there and seeing what we can learn from each other. Maybe work with FCAIC, learn from them and assist them in Nest from what we learned. So there are a lot of benefits that we can, while working together and collaboration, we can do. So that might be a good idea. We have tried virtual get together. Often it doesn't really work out. Things like Mindshare team face to face or council team face to face. Those who are involved, they know the challenge of getting a time slot that works for everyone. So maybe in-person event where we can discuss a lot of ideas, brainstorm together. That might be a good start to these. Yeah, time zones are hard. And again, as Yona says, video calls are harder sometimes. Especially with Isa living in US and me living in India, it was always a tough time us finding a slot that works for everyone.
It was quite challenging, but like in the end, it's good that we still managed it. So, and we have Fedora Mentor Summit, so we will keep with the same thing. Okay, so we have a question from Marie. If it were to be virtual, would distributed events be an interesting idea?
Yes, something that we just discussed in retrospection as well. We need to think about more regional and time zone diversity on how can we have different groups representing in different sections, because UTC evening time zones uh, are good because well are good as in some of those best options for our community from my understanding, because we have seen the highest number of audience peaks, but there are also a lot left to experiment in different ways on how we can get it. um, Maybe have smaller events in different time zones, like maybe in morning, which can be participated by different people in the east side of the world, India, China, Singapore, and all of these places, and something also in the evening, which can people from US and Europe and Southern American countries, they can participate. And then maybe in the end, we can have a small overlap where we can discuss our most important findings. But a lot of the time, it may happen that one group may feel that they are left out from some of the important discussion that may take place in the other one. But again, this is something we need to discuss, experiment, and learn how can we do better around. But definitely, this is something we need to, well, time zones.
Okay, so from reading what also Marie is saying, so if we were to have Flock in 2023, it might be interesting to have something connected to DEI, like a social event, and people have a chance to learn about each other or why DEI is important. And actually, yeah, this would be great. Something that we have been doing also, like previously at Flux, that we had, I remember the speaker language session or we had the workshops, the unconscious bias and imposter syndrome, which I think also kind of helped for people to know better each other. We had another one from Justin. I forgot the name of the game now, which also really helped to better connect with the people actually in the community. Story Stitch, yes, thank you, Justin. I also really like that one. And actually, yeah, like there are like many similar things that we could be doing, but also the Story Stitch is very nice. So definitely, if we can have it, like if it will be in person next year, we can plan that.
That seems like a good idea, to have a small meetup, staircase meetup around our FOSDEM booth with whoever can make it there. I know it's a little exclusive for only people who will be there, but something to try and start with.
Thanks a lot,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
And
Thank you, everyone.
Enjoy your second day of Fedora release party,
yeah,
pre-release party.
Yes.
See everyone around.
bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.